So today I just wanted to talk about which Linux distro a new person, like somebody who's just coming into Linux, which Linux distro should this person use? And so I've seen a couple of videos online about like people suggesting certain distros, and I thought I could make a video and maybe throw in my 2 cents and see exactly what I recommend, just sharing my thoughts out there. And so I would like to start here by first sharing how I got, how I got started. And so I watched several videos online talking about which beginner friendly distros are out there, ones that would easily help you transition from Windows to Linux. And so one of the options that I found in here, I'll pull up Firefox, and one of the options that I found was Linux Mint. So Linux Mint, I feel like, is a really good beginner friendly distro. Let me see if there's a way to make this dark mode. Okay, there we go. Yeah, because the white was killing me. But Linux Mint, I feel like, is a good beginner friendly distro. Like, I remember when I was on Windows and I hopped on to Linux Mint, I thought that it was going to be a rough transition. I thought I had to use the terminal. I was afraid of the terminal, honestly. I thought I had to use the terminal, and I was like, oh no, dude, I don't know if I can do it. And I was a bit afraid. And then I decided to just try Linux Mint as my very first distro. And honestly, I like almost didn't even have to use the I almost didn't even have to use the terminal. And the way it was laid out, like the way Cinnamon, the desktop environment is, the way Cinnamon is laid out, like it was just like an easy, like super easy transition from Windows to Linux. And I liked it. Like, I really liked it. I got used to Linux Mint like fast. Like, I want to say like within like 30 minutes, like, or maybe less, I don't know. But it was very fast. I got very used to Linux Mint very fast. And in fact, it was so easy to transition from Windows to Linux using Linux Mint that I was like, okay. I used it for like a month because I didn't want to, like, I knew about distro hopping already, and I didn't want to be the kind of person who would like distro hop every single day. Or I was like, no, I want to stick with, from the very start I said I wanted to stick with one distro, master it, or like get really comfortable with it, and then I will switch off to like a different kind of distro. And so I remember I stayed on Linux Mint for about a month. Yeah, I stayed with it for like about a month, and then I decided to switch from Linux Mint and go straight to Fedora Linux. And so at this point in time, I was very new to Linux. I didn't know the difference between distro and desktop environment. I didn't even know there was like multiple desktop environments. Like, I was so brand new to all of this. Watched a lot of videos. Actually, there was just one video that pushed me towards Fedora, and that was this one video by this one YouTuber called Switch and Click, or Click and Switch, one of those two. But her video, she went to Fedora. I think she also tried Linux Mint. She started on Linux Mint, and then from Linux Mint hopped over to Fedora. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hop over to Fedora because I liked the way Fedora looked in her video. And at that point in time, it was Fedora 42. When I first started on Linux Mint, it was, I think Linux Mint 22 was just barely out, or 22.1 or something like that. Now we're at 22.3 Xena. So yeah, so after Linux Mint, I went to Fedora, but Linux Mint is, I want to say, my best suggestion for new Linux people, once we're just starting out, don't know nothing about Linux, or a bit afraid or scared to hop onto Linux, and are like nervous about using the terminal. Then I would highly suggest Linux Mint. After Linux Mint, I would say once you're comfortable with Linux Mint, if you wanted to stay there, I mean, that's totally fine. There's absolutely no problem. But as a gamer, because I primarily game on my computer, I wanted something a bit more up to date. I wanted drivers to be a bit more up to date. Linux Mint is known to have, or to like hold back on the drivers, or hold back on updates in order to make it more stable. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being, you know, rock solid. But I wanted a little bit more performance out of my computer. And I was very comfortable with Linux Mint. And I just wanted something a bit more up to date. I still didn't want to go into Arch Linux. I knew I wanted to be somewhere in the middle. So you can say on a scale of 1 to 10, Linux Mint is probably like a 1 or a 2. And then somewhere in the middle, around like 5 or 6, then you have over here, let me go ahead and open up Fedora. You have Fedora Linux. And Fedora Linux, to me, is my personal favorite. Like, I absolutely love Fedora Linux. And what's cool about it is that they have so many desktop environments for Fedora Linux. And I mean, obviously the two main ones are, you know, GNOME on workstation and KDE Plasma. They're like probably like the two big dogs when it comes to desktop environments. And so when I saw GNOME, I was like, wow, like GNOME just looked clean, like very clean to me. I really liked it. I tried Fedora Workstation, absolutely loved it. I'm telling you, like going from Linux Mint to Fedora Workstation, I was like blown away on how like modern and how like more up-to-date things were. I was like, wow, man, like this is absolutely amazing. I loved Fedora Linux, especially Workstation Edition. And then after about a week of using Fedora Linux or Fedora Workstation, I did give Fedora KDE Plasma a try. I tried KDE Plasma. I honestly, I couldn't even last a week on KDE Plasma. In fact, I think I only lasted maybe like 1 or 2 days before I was just like, you know what, I can't do it. I don't like, personally, this is just my personal opinion, I don't like KDE Plasma at all. Like I think it's like very buggy. I don't know why. Like I don't feel like it's smooth enough. I don't feel like it looks nice. You know, I don't think it looks nice enough as Workstation, as GNOME. I feel like GNOME just all around just looks better. I do like the customization of KDE Plasma. I think that was very cool. but I'm not the kind of person to really like rice my desktop out so much. So for me, just having things in like light mode or dark mode and then having it all look consistent and having it look clean is how I like to have my desktops. And so personally, Fedora Workstation was like literally the one for me. Like I really like GNOME. I'm also interested, by the way, in using Cosmic, but I'm waiting for it to be a bit more gamer friendly before giving that a shot. But as of right now, GNOME is what I really like. I just like the overall look of it. I like the I don't know, I just like it. I just like it more. I like it more than Plasma KDE. And then this is where I've been, honestly, majority of my time. Majority of my time I've been here on Fedora Workstation, learning Fedora. It does have its quirks and stuff, and then GNOME is can be a little bit non-gamer friendly. But I mean, I've managed to troubleshoot and kind of like stick to it. You know, I really liked it. It's challenged me for sure. Like Fedora has challenged me for sure. It has really taught me more about Linux. And Fedora, you do have to use the terminal a little bit more, but I do like that a lot of Fedora, a lot of like the distro, like Fedora as a distro, a lot of it has like a GUI that you can really like look at and do most of the things through a GUI or a GUI, however you want to pronounce it. And I really like how you almost don't have to use the terminal, although there's some occasions where you do, but you can almost always just stick to just using the GUI to do all your updates, to download things through the software, through like the software store. I really like that. You know, I really like that about Fedora. After using Fedora for a little while, I want to say, I don't know, a couple months, like 3-4 months, maybe like 2-3 months. I did try out CachyOS. Okay, CachyOS. So, man. So, let's learn more about CachyOS. Let's see if it gives you the option here, or do I have to download it? Okay, so CachyOS is Arch Linux, pretty much. It's Arch based. It's a rolling release base. And what that means pretty much is that there's updates honestly almost daily on Arch Linux. Like when I saw the amount of updates that there is in that, most of the time you have to do your updates through the terminal. So this is another thing. The Arch way is to do majority of your like configuration, majority of your updates, most of your downloads. You kind of need to do it through the terminal. Like it's kind of like the Arch way. Like you have to use the terminal for like majority of your tasks. And so for me personally, I don't like to use the terminal that much. Like in fact, if I can avoid using the terminal and instead use a GUI to do downloads, to do updates, to search for things, and like I like having an interface that I can click and look at and read, as opposed to having to pull up the terminal and having to like download I just don't like it, man. For me, I don't like the archway, and as I don't think even in the future, like even like years, maybe a year, and in a few more months, like 6 more months, that'll be like a year into Linux. I don't see myself using Arch in the future, by the way. Like I'm the kind of person who likes to use a GUI to do most of my things. And so let's go back here to Fedora. Fedora is more of that, okay, let's use the GUI and we can do most of our things there. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this, or kind of minimize this. And so I like to pull up the software center here, and I like to kind of like search for things. And you can do the same thing on Arch, but the thing is, it's kind of not the Arch way, if that makes sense. And then for updates, for instance, I wanted to update here, we can see where here I can just refresh, look at what kind of updates are available, click download, restart my computer, and we're set, right? And technically you could do the same thing in Arch, but it's really not the same, especially because I like to use GNOME. So when I downloaded CachyOS, I used CachyOS with GNOME, and you kind of almost don't want to use, like, you want to almost avoid using this on Arch. You kind of want to use the terminal instead, but I really like to use this thing. I like to use this. And so I was like, you know what, I'm not the kind of person to having to pull up the terminal all the time. So let me pull up the terminal here. Oops, where is it? Oh yeah, right here. Let me pull up the terminal and let's start like looking things up or downloading things. Like, I'm just not that kind of person. I like to use the GUI instead, search for things, download, updates, all through an interface. And so for me, I say start with Linux Mint, and then hop over to, once you're comfortable with this and you want to try something more modern, then I would highly recommend Fedora. And then if you then wanted something more up to date, because it's not like Fedora is like not modern. Both CachyOS and Fedora are very modern. It's not that it's not that Fedora is less modern than Cachy. It's just that it's up to you. Do you like to use a GUI, or do you like to use the terminal, from here on out? And so I'm more of the person who likes to use the GUI, so I'm going to stick with Fedora. But if you're somebody who wants to be on the more like bleeding edge of Arch, and like to use the terminal and prefer to use the terminal, then probably Arch is for you. But for me, I know for a fact that Arch is not for me. CachyOS is not for me, but I respect it, but it's not for me. I think I'm gonna always stick with Fedora. Fedora has honestly, it's been amazing. There's some, the release of Fedora 43 was a little rocky. It still is a little rocky. If you do come to Fedora, maybe stick with Fedora 42 instead of Fedora 43, because Fedora 43 it's rough. It's rough for sure. I would stick probably with Fedora 42, but honestly, Fedora has been amazing. I love it. In fact, I've even put my wife on Fedora. I think she's on Fedora 42 on her laptop. I have Fedora on my personal laptop, and then this is my main PC here, my desktop. I have Fedora 43 on this one. And honestly, there's a few little things that maybe I don't like, but I mean, other than that, I really like Fedora. I think Fedora's the way to go. I would say if you're new, start with Linux Mint. Once you're comfortable with Linux Mint, hop over to Fedora, and then learn Fedora. Like, first learn Linux Mint really good, Once you're comfortable with that, then come over to Fedora, learn Fedora, or maybe like Pop! OS, which is Debian based. This is based off of Red Hat. And then if you wanted to give Arch a try, use it for a little bit. I wouldn't put it on your main PC. Use it on like a laptop or something, and then see if you wanted to put it on your desktop or whatever your main PC is. But honestly, Fedora for me is #1. So if you guys like the video, either comment, like, don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate it. My goal this year for 2026 is to see if I can become a YouTube partner. So, you know, getting me to 1,000 subscribers and a couple hours of watch time would help me out. And I appreciate it very much. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.